All right, welcome back to Two Stupid Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Vinny.
I'm Dylan.
And guess what, guys? It looks like I was wrong. Uh, I'm doing a follow up to the Molson Coors kind of stock analysis video here. And, I really would dove right into the numbers, and the numbers weren't actually like horrible. I ended up not selling my Molson Coors position. I ended up selling a covered call against it, which I lost about $100 on, but whatever.
So you did the opposite then of selling a position.
Well, I tried to play it both because based on what I had seen from the first quarter, I thought it was going to be horrible because of the fact that they had that massive Texas storm that shut down their refinery for, I think it was like 11 days, not refinery, their distillery. They also had their breach, which they had like a hack basically that messed up their organization as well, caused some shipping delays and things like that. Yeah. Which is ironic because it's actually in their annual report under a risk factor.
They were hacked.
Yeah, they were hacked. But anyways, the first quarter numbers came out. They were more bullish and then kind of originally expected. They were basically flat when they were expected to have a loss. They talked about their guidance for the rest of the year, saying that they expect EBITDA to be flat with last year. I had never heard of the term social arbitrage before. Had you, Dylan?
No, I have not.
Yeah. So arbitrage basically is betting on the convergence of two things, right? I've seen it before used in the bond market where different exchanges sometimes will have different price for the same actual underlying device or instrument.
Crypto is a great.
Yeah. I knew a couple of guys that were doing some crypto arbitrage where they were buying it on like U.S. exchanges and selling it on like Chinese exchanges. Exactly. Yeah. It's interesting, but so social arbitrage is basically betting on the convergence of knowledge is what they bet on. On a groundwork kind of level, you're able to see trends sometimes, and you may be able to see how well something is taking before Wall Street kind of catches on to the idea is basically where it's founded upon. Dylan and I definitely admire Lululemon. Maybe we knew about that a little bit before.
Yeah, that was pretty shocking.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like, it's interesting when your wife starts asking you something about a company. You should really be like, is this a good investment?
Yeah, just like the Disney subscribers. Everyone had Disney off the bat.
I completely whiffed on that one. I got Disney Plus the day it opened, and then just didn't actually invest money in them. Anyways, so I want to run through some different numbers here, looking at Molson Coors and like what they could be worth, based upon some of the things that have been said about them and the kind of social arbitrage opposite position here. So this right here is my spreadsheet that you had seen before. This is the last 10 years of Molson Coors, basically finances, spreading out the cash flow and like also their EBITDA. And then this was my previous price prediction, which was about a 10% per year return, which is fine. It really is a completely average kind of return. I mean, right? Like 10% per year, if you could lock that in, that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. And that was me just simply modeling forward what Molson Coors have been doing for the last 10 years, meaning declining revenue and declining cash flow and EBITDA along with that. So what's new is this whole section here. What I did here is I took their guidance and I kept EBITDA flat for this year. And then I added in Zoa. Are you familiar with Zoa? This is another product they bring to market.
The Dwayne Johnson. I buy everything that guy has. I don't buy brands.
Yeah.
But I have four cases now.
It's launching nationwide this spring. It's already in some GNCs and things like that.
It is in GNCs.
Yeah, Molson Coors is predicting $1 billion in revenue from Zoa alone by 2023. So like I said, I kept the EBITDA flat. I added in the Zoa $300 million for next year, and then $1 billion total the year after. And I kept their market their kind of net margin of the EBITDA flat, which is about 14%. This actually should be a little bit higher in terms of what actual portion of this will flow down to their EBITDA line, because sodas typically or energy drinks are a higher margin item.
But they got to pay Dwayne Johnson with each can.
Yeah, so Dwayne Johnson actually is a part owner of the business. He's not like a celebrity spokesman. He actually is part equity owner, and so is Molson Coors. So I did that, and I also, based on the initial kind of numbers on Topo Chico and Vizzy, Molson Coors is at about 7% market share nationwide right now, despite the fact that Topo Chico is only available in 9 states and then a few other like key markets. The I looked at the numbers as far as what the seltzer market itself is predicted to be this year. They're looking at a 50% growth in the seltzer market for this year. It was 1.8 billion last year. Like, I don't know if you get the same sense of the world that I do right now, Dylan, but it seems like there's a lot of pent up demand. Like, people are going to go buck wild this summertime. At least I think. What do you think?
Yeah, that was the argument for cruises too. But I mean, yeah.
I mean, you can just kind of like you sense it in people, and even if you use Google Trends and start looking at search kind of history, people are searching for summertime kind of things as far as like bathing suits and like seltzer hard seltzers earlier than normal. So we're definitely seeing some indicators that we're going to get like a real bust out. And I'm up in the Northeast, and our weather has been not great for springtime. It's still been pretty dreary. Anyways, so I brought the number out here. So 50% growth for this year, which I think is actually probably conservative. The hard seltzer market's been growing at a compound annual growth rate of more than 100% for the last 4 years, I think, since 2016 or 5 years.
There's a time when like White Claw just ran out.
Yeah,
of their production. Yeah. I think that was like a year and a half or 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was 2018. But it's growing still phenomenally well. 50%, like I said, is conservative. You're talking about something that's been growing over 100% per, on average over the last few years. So I modeled out what I think the hard seltzer market's going to be worth. For this year, 2021, basically based on industry average, there is 50%. Then I brought that down 5% per year. This is still being relatively conservative, and modeled out what the size of the hard seltzer market should be all the way up to 2030, which is this 14.57 billion number. Along with that, I assume that Molson Coors could capture that 10% of the market that they're kind of indicating, which is not too much more than they are right now. Locally where they rolled out Topo Chico instantly went to a 20% of the local market. So I think hitting a 10% of the total hard seltzer market is achievable for them. It's not pie in the sky, but it's still pretty solid number. And then this is what you're looking at for EBITDA going forward. So this is a complete reversal of their previous 10 years. If you're looking at it up here, this is like, that kind of just bringing forward their previous, EBITDA rate there of negative 2% per year. In this case, they're actually growing, right? And then I gave them the same EBITDA multiple, which is also relatively conservative. You get an enterprise value of about $38 billion. I subtracted 3 times the EBITDA for their debt, which is what I'm hoping to get to. They're actually about a $7.7 billion in debt right now, which will basically have the debt being flat over the next 10 years, which is reasonable. Gives us about $30 billion market cap. This is a company that's about $12 billion right now.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, we divide out by shares outstanding. We're talking about $141 per share. They're currently trading for about $55 a share. Yeah, I know, right?
Well, so look at the turnaround, because you were at 66, and then just adding Zoa, and because the original assumption was that Topo Chico wouldn't hit, and then obviously we were wrong. It hit pretty well.
It's not
that more than doubled. It's
not that I didn't think it would hit. It's just I'm not willing to pay up front for would-be's, I guess you could say.
Right.
That's the bear case scenario in this case is still a reasonable return. It's pretty safe. 10% per year on a company with declining revenue is like, a solid number. But now if they are able to legitimately execute and fire on all cylinders that they're looking like they're heading towards, you're looking at something that would give you a return of approximately 16%. And that's even still being relatively conservative over the next decade. And this is simply based on actual financial analysis. Now, the market can certainly choose to do what it damn well pleases, right?
Yeah.
If we compare that to Molson Coors to what Sam Adams is currently trading for here on like a PE basis, do you realize that Sam Adams has over a 60 PE?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, their name is Boston Beer Company, but their ticker symbol is not BBC. I was very confused. But
Oh man.
I digress. So like I'll
If
admit
anyone's
it.
still watching to that point.
Yeah, exactly. If anyone's still watching, comment down below. Let us know. The This is actually looking like something I'm going to commit a little bit more capital to. I have 100 shares right now, but based on these numbers, I'm far more optimistic. I don't know. Did I convince you, Dylan? Are you going to invest a little bit in TAP? You think?
From my swing trading, I am so tapped on capital. I just only do options now. I'll throw some options at it.
Yeah, that's probably
I'll
a
do some
reasonable thing.
calls. You said it's going to be $140. I'll see what the 140 call is expiration for next week.
Yeah, that's 2030, Dylan. I'm not sure if
No, I'll do it next week.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I mean, the market gets pretty irrational. I think the timeline you're really going to see this, right? You're going to see this in their second quarter, and then ultimately, really their third quarter earnings.
Yeah,
you're going to see it kind of leap there. I also tried to find any details about their deal with Coke in terms of how the finances are orchestrated there. So Topo Chico, the brand name, is owned by Coke. Initially, on the initial rollout right now, a third party is manufacturing and packaging the Topo Chico. Molson Coors will be taking over the manufacturing. They have exclusive right to manufacture it. I'm not sure what timeline that is, and then also how that will affect the revenue split there. Obviously, if
Molson so we don't know the breakdown between Coke and Molson Coors.
Yeah, it's not in any of their annual reports, not in any of their press releases. They say they have exclusive rights to it, but it doesn't say the timeline for when that switchover from the third-party manufacturer is, or what the revenue split will look like once, pre and post that switchover. Because I imagine Molson Coors will be getting a larger share of the revenue once they're actually doing the manufacturing as well, not just distribution. But
right.
Yeah, it's kind of scant on details, unfortunately. And I listened to the conference call from their earnings report, and that wasn't something that was discussed. But I am definitely curious. So it'd be a little bit better to do my financial modeling based on that. And then also even the profit margin. I use the 14%, which is their own internal, but hard seltzers, much like the energy drink Zoa, are actually a higher profit margin item. Hard seltzers, they don't have to buy grain. They don't have to worry about that. They just literally need sugar and water to make
it's pretty much just you don't have to let it sit for like 6 months or do anything. Any of the stuff you have to do with beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Way less complicated.
Yeah, it's a more profitable item. So if anything, we could see a little bit of market expansion there. So, there's multiple opportunities here for these numbers to improve. Like, I was relatively generous, but nothing like super egregious here. Even this is probably still like a middle of the line number if they truly execute on all of this stuff, Yeah. Well, yeah. Any final thoughts there, Dylan? Questions?
I'll buy some TAP.
Yeah.
I'm just buying it because I love Dwayne Johnson and he's my hero. So.
Yeah. I need to get some of that Zoa, and I also would love to try the Topo Chico. I've actually never had a hard seltzer, but now I
have headphones.
Yeah.
These are my backup headphones in case my AirPods die.
Nice. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see. Hopefully, we can make some money on this one.
Yep. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you.